Welcome again to English Grammar Topics. Today's lecture is about the second part of adverbial clauses. Let's make a review of these clauses. Adverbial clauses are dependent clauses. They cannot stand alone in a sentence. This means they must be connected to independent clauses, main clauses, in order to complete the meaning of a sentence. They usually begin with conjunctions used to connect an adverbial clause to another clause and specific to a main clause or an independent clause. These conjunctions are called subordinating, as shown below. So we have these five types of subordinate conjunctions. We talked about the first three ones last time, and today I'm going to talk about the last two ones. As you see, each one of them has a set of conjunctions. This means that each one of them has a certain meaning. That's why when you are going to use any one of them to join two clauses, you need first of all to understand the meaning of the sentence in order to use the right conjunction. So let's begin with this one, result. So we have these conjunctions, so that, such that. As you see, such that and so that are separated. So let's talk about them in detail. We use result clauses beginning with so to describe effects or results, let's say outcomes. Actually, we put result clauses after main clauses, as in the following sentence. It was a long trip, so I am really tired now. As a result, I am really tired. So because of having such a long trip, so as a result, I am tired now. Regarding so that, we need to insert between these two words either adjectives, adverbs, or quantifiers, just like few, little, many, or much. So this one is used to introduce a result clause. For example, let's have these three examples. She speaks so fast that I can't understand her. It was so amazing that we'll never forget it. They made so many mistakes that they failed the exam. As you see, in the first one, we have fast, which is an adverb. In the second one, amazing, this one is an adjective. And the last one, we have many mistakes. What do you have? We have a quantifier plus a plural noun. So what does that mean? It means that we need to use either an adjective or an adverb or a quantifier between so and that in order to introduce a result clause. With regard to such that, again, we need to insert something between these two words. We need to insert a modifier and a noun to form, again, a result clause, as in the following example. It was such a foggy day that we couldn't see the road. So as you see, what do you have here? We have a modifier foggy plus the noun. So we need in a specific an adjective plus a noun. So try to pay attention to the difference between these two conjunctions. In the first one, in so and that, we need to insert either an adjective or an adverb or a quantifier, while in the second one, such that, we need to insert a modifier plus a noun. So, but still, each one of them is used to introduce a result clause. I hope this is quite clear for you. Let's move to other examples. That class was early. Everyone had trouble staying awake in it. So we have these two clauses. Let's join them using so that. So how can we use this conjunction in a correct way? So try to pay attention that this one, so that, we need to insert either an adjective or an adverb or a quantifier. So what do you have in the sentence given here? We have that class was early. So we have this word early. So let's join these clauses by saying that class was so early. that everyone has trouble staying awake in it. So because of that early class, as a result, everyone had trouble staying awake in it. So here we have early is an adverb. So try to pay attention to the original sentence and try to find an adjective or an adverb or a quantifier in case so that is given to you. Let's have another example. We had a wonderful time on holiday. We didn't want to come home. So let's join them using such that and try to pay attention. What do we need to insert between such and that? We need a modifier and a noun. So do we have something like this in the sentence? Yes, we have a wonderful time. So we need to put this word, we need to insert this word between such and that. So let's have a look at the new sentence. We had such a wonderful time on holiday. As a result, this means that we didn't want to come home. So a wonderful time is a modifier plus a noun. So wonderful is a modifier and time is a noun. So try to pay attention to the example given to you. Not. So we have a wrong sentence. That class was such early that everyone had trouble staying awake in it. So this sentence is incorrect. Why? Because we have early, which is an adverb, and as I said, we need to insert after such a modifier and a noun, not an adverb or an adjective or a quantifier after such. So try to pay attention. We need to insert a modifier plus a noun. Even a modifier alone is incorrect. So try to pay attention what to use with each of these conjunctions. Hope it's quite clear for you. I mean the difference between these two conjunctions. Moving to the last type of conjunctions, we have a set of conjunctions that are used to express contrast, just like although, though, despite, even though, while, whereas. So these are used to introduce information that contrasts with information in another clause. So they are used to introduce unexpected results, as in the following example. I still feel hungry even though I had a big lunch. So we have here two contrastive meanings. We have I feel hungry, I had a big lunch. So each contrasts with another. Another example. Although it was cold, I went swimming. Here we have it was cold, but I went swimming. So there is a contrast between these two clauses. As you see, I put the adverbial clause, although it was cold, at the beginning of the sentence, and then we inserted a comma. I can also say this sentence in this way: I went swimming, although it was cold. So I place the adverbial clause after the main clause. But in this case, there is no need to include a comma. We can also, by the way, use but to express a contrast, but not with although. What does that mean? When you want to use but, or let's say although, it's wrong to include these two conjunctions in one sentence. You have to use one of them, but still you need to pay attention to the meaning of the sentence in order to put the conjunction in the suitable clause. Have a look at this sentence, the same sentence given to you here. It was cold, but I went swimming. So here, but again expresses a contrast between these two clauses. In the first one, we put although with the clause it was cold, while here we put but with I went swimming. So that's why you need most frequently to pay attention to the meaning of each clause given to you. Let's have a look at the other two conjunctions. We have while and whereas. These are also used to express a contrast between two clauses, as in this sentence. John is rich, while, whereas, any one of them. Mary is poor. So we have here a contrast. We can also use while to express another meaning, just like this sentence. While I was studying, the phone rang. Here, while is not used to express contrast, but time. So pay attention to this usage. However, we cannot use whereas to express time in this case, only while. But I can use whereas or while to express a contrast. In this slide, I'll be talking about a set of prepositions that also express a contrast. We have despite, in spite of, despite the fact that. All these are similar to the conjunction although. However, each one of them has a different usage. For example, despite should be followed by a noun phrase, in spite of by a gerund or also a noun phrase, while despite the fact that should be followed by a clause. Let me differentiate between these three items. A phrase is a set of words without a subject or a verb. A gerund is a formal verb with ing, which functions as a noun, while a clause is also a set of words that should include a subject and a verb. Let's have a look at the following examples. I went swimming despite in spite of the cold weather. Here, the cold weather is a noun phrase, a phrase. In the other one, I went swimming despite in spite of being cold. Being here is a gerund. However, the following sentence is incorrect. I went swimming despite in spite of the weather was cold. Why? Because the weather was cold is a clause. As I said, we have to use either a noun phrase or a gerund after despite or in spite of. We can use a clause with the preposition despite the fact that, as in the following example. Despite the fact that it was cold, I went swimming. Here, it was cold is a clause, and this sentence is correct. Why? Because it is grammatical to use a clause after despite the fact that. So you need to pay attention to the use of each of these prepositions that also express a contrast. Hope this is quite clear to you. Moving to the last topic in this presentation, which is about reduced adverbial clauses. What does reduction mean? It means making the adverbial clauses short. How is that? Let's talk about this in detail. Adverbial clauses beginning with after, before, while, and since can be changed to modified phrases by deleting the subjects and verbs to be. However, if there is no verb to be used, in this case we need just to delete the subject and change the main verb into the ing form. Something else, reduction is only possible when the subject of the two clauses is the same. If we have two different subjects, so no reduction is possible. For example, since Mary came to this city, she has made many friends. First, we need to pay attention to the subject in each clause. We have Mary, and there is a pronoun that refers to Mary. So we have here the same subject. In this case, reduction is possible. How can we change this adverbial clause into a phrase? We need first to delete Mary, the subject, and add ing to the verb come by using first the base form, just like here. Since coming to this city, Mary has made many friends. So we deleted the subject and we change the main verb into the ing form. Another example. Before she goes to the train station, Maria will buy a ticket. We have Maria and she. So we have the same subject. Here the two clauses are talking about the same person, the same subject. So we can here reduce the adverbial clause into a modifying phrase. Before going to the train station, we deleted the subject, and as you see in both sentences, we don't have verbs to be, but we change the main verb into the ing forms. So before going to the train station, Maria will buy a ticket. So we put the adverbials at the beginning, and then we inserted a comma. We can also say here, Maria will buy a ticket before going to the train station. So I can place the the modifying phrase after the main clause, after the independent clause. Another example. While I was walking down the street, comma, I met an old friend. We have here while, and we have I and I in both clauses. So in this case, reduction is possible. And we have a verb to be was. In this case, we are going to delete this auxiliary was. While walking down the street, we deleted I and was. I met an old friend. So you see how reduction works here. I can also say, walking down the street, I met an old friend. I can remove the conjunction from the modifying phrase, but not from the clause. Pay attention to this. I can say, walking down the street, I met an old friend. Have a look at this sentence. While the teacher was lecturing to the class, I fell asleep. Here, no reduction is possible. Why? Because we have the teacher in the adverbial clause and we have the pronoun I as a subject in the main or in the independent clause. So the subjects in both clauses are different, so no reduction. So reduction here is impossible. It's not possible. Hope this is clear to you. Let's now move to the last part of this presentation, which is also about reduction. We'll be talking here about the conjunction because. If it is used in a sentence, we don't include it when changing the adverbial clause into a phrase, as in the following example. Because Sam didn't want to spend any more money, he decided against going to the restaurant. We need here to delete the conjunction because, the subject Sam and the auxiliary did. But we need to keep the meaning of negation, as we'll see. Not wanting to spend any more money, Sam decided against going to the restaurant. We put not here in front of the main verb wanting after adding ing to that main verb. Another example. Because she was late, she didn't get tickets for the show. In this adverbial clause, because she was late, we have the verb to be was, which is used as a main verb. In this case, we are not going to delete it when changing the clause into a phrase, as we'll see. Being late, she didn't get tickets for the show. We only deleted the conjunction because and the subject she, but we kept was because it functions as a main verb. Another note we need to pay attention to in this topic, we have the structure. We use having plus past participle in the perfect structure, as in the following example. After he had retired, Paul decided to travel. In the adverbial clause, after he had retired, we have the past perfect tense. So how can we change this clause into a phrase? Well, after having retired, Paul decided to travel. So we only deleted the subject he, and we added ing to the auxiliary have. After having retired, Paul decided to travel. Another structure we need to pay attention to is the following. We use being plus past participle in the passive structure, as in the following example. I was pleased at first because I was asked to work with my professors. So how can we reduce this clause into a phrase? I was pleased at first being asked to work with my professors. So we deleted the conjunction because. We don't include it in the phrase, and the subject, but we keep the meaning of passive by adding ing to the auxiliary be. This is the end of this presentation. Thank you very much indeed for your listening. If you have any questions, you can post them in the streaming section.